Hello, Chicago. Welcome on in to another episode of Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio. We've got another victory to celebrate. It's a Victory Monday for the Chicago Bears. Tyson Bagent getting his first NFL win out of the way as quickly as you can. I gotta say, I did not see that coming. We will discuss the Bears win. We will discuss the secret Bagent man. We will discuss Jaylon Johnson. Did he earn himself a second contract with the Bears? Lots to go over there. But it's not going to be just NFL tonight. No, we've got the NBA season is right around the corner as well. Wednesday night, the Bulls tip off the season against the Oklahoma City Thunder. So we will do some Bulls preview tonight as well. Lots to discuss there. The Bulls have made some changes in the offseason. Are they going to be able to take more threes and make more threes? What's Patrick Williams' future look like with the club? And ultimately, are the Bulls going to make the postseason? All that and more coming right on up in Chi-Town Weekly. Do not go anywhere. Hello and good evening, everyone. You have found your way into Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Adam Kernick with you. Another fun episode in line for tonight. Lots to get to, of course. We're going to be discussing the Bears' victory over the Las Vegas Raiders yesterday. I, for one, color me very surprised that it happened. We'll get into that a little bit. We will discuss one Tyson Bagent and what he did yesterday and what does it mean? What does it mean going forward? We will try to preview this coming Sunday's game as well. We'll talk about Jaylon Johnson a little bit, about has he earned himself a new contract with the Bears as well. But we will also discuss one of the other teams in town as well, the Bulls, as they get ready for their new NBA season. Lots to get to in tonight's episode, so let's get right to it. And of course, before we go anywhere, we do need to acknowledge our sponsor here for the evening, Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, the single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all-brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. This is some of the best jerky you can get your hands on, and in lots of different flavors as well, from classic barbecue to volcanic jalapeno, sweet Carolina Reaper, lots of things to tickle your taste buds. Just head over to planetjerky.net and place your order. Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet. And, of course, for the last 9.5 years now, IE Sports Radio has brought you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to keep up with the latest in sports and with our shows. Also, check out our daily updated website, iesportsradio.com, for sports news, the IE Sports Radio blog, our Hall of Fame Fans of the Month pages dedicated to each of our shows, our IE Sports Radio community forum, and stop by the shop and check out all the merchandise. Thank you for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports. You heard in there the way to keep up with the network on all the social media channels. You can also keep up with this show on X. We are available at IESRC, or you can follow along with me personally. I am at Adam_Karnick. And if you are listening live here tonight on Monday night, on Spreaker.com, hop on into the chat room. Taryn is there already. Mike Pat is there already. My mother has jumped in for a little bit. Hop on in and we interact and have some fun in the chat room. Or if you just want to sit back and listen, or if you're catching later on in the week as a podcast, whether it's on YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, whatever it is, however you're listening to the show, thank you for being here. I really do appreciate it. Let others know that you listen, and let's grow this a little bit, shall we? So, yes, the title for tonight's show, of course, after that performance yesterday, how could we start the program with talking about anything other than Tyson Bagent and the Chicago Bears, the secret Bagent man. And Taryn, I know you mentioned that Chris Collinsworth brought it up. In Chicago, that joke had been made a couple weeks ago, so it's already tip of the tongue for Bears fans already. And yes, feel free, get the song stuck in your head. Feel free, have some fun with it. It's not the only nickname he garnered over the weekend. You go talk to Raiders fans, he has a very different nickname after yesterday. But we'll get into that in a little bit. I have to admit, going into that game yesterday, what I expected was, first of all, I expected a Bears loss. I will be very honest and straightforward about that. I expected a Bears loss yesterday. I did not think they were going to win. I thought we were going to see a very drag it out slog of a game where we were looking at first team to 17 wins kind of a day where the Raiders win 17-13 kind of a game was what I was expecting out of this one. So, by halftime, they hit him Mike Pat comments, me and 98% of the population. Well, yeah, when you're going into a game and the teams have the audacity to start Brian Hoyer, who is I think in NFL terms a 75-year-old quarterback, and the equivalency of a toddler just getting out of diapers. You tend to gear yourself up for not good things. And so already by halftime, the Bears had already exceeded my expectations. They'd managed to score 14. It was, oh my gosh, wow. All right. I guess where would be best to start? I feel like where would be best to start with this is, for as much as we talk about how complex and complicated and sophisticated football can be, it doesn't have to be. Really, it just boils down to two key areas. If you win in two areas, you can win far more often than not. with just two simple, as we see on the internet all the time, two weird tricks to win your professional football game. You know, it really doesn't have to be as complicated as you think. And those two key categories are third downs and the turnover ratio. And the Bears won both of those on both sides of the ball yesterday. You look at offensively, the Bears were 8 of 13 yesterday on third down. And they didn't turn the ball over offensively. It's only the second time all season that they have not turned the ball over. Guess which one is the other time where they didn't turn the ball over? Go ahead, put it in the chat. I'll give you a couple of seconds here. Meanwhile, defensively, the Raiders were just 2 of 9 on third down. And they turned the ball over 3 times yesterday. and there you go. Congratulations to Mike, Pat, and Kathy pointing at. And there we go. There's Taryn. Ding, 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 ding. All three of you get gold stars for the night. The other time the Bears didn't turn the ball over, their only other win, the Thursday night game against Washington. It's amazing what happens when your offense isn't giving the ball up. Even just ending a drive in a punt, especially with the way the Bears defense has been playing the last several weeks. They're still not getting sacks. We'll get to that at another time, I think. But, and yes, obviously the quality of opponent has something to do with it, but they held the Raiders to 235 yards of offense yesterday. They held the Vikings the week before to 220 yards of offense. The Commanders had 388. Okay, all right. But the last couple of weeks, the defense is really starting to come into its own a little bit. So if you can just hold on to the football offensively, that's a low bar, I realize. But if you can clear that bar, you help yourself out so much just by not giving them short fields or giving them extra possessions. And that's something you saw yesterday. Now, why did we see that yesterday? Now we got to talk about Bagent. Yeah, you're right, Mike. They did get some sacks on Washington. You're right. I hope Sam Howell has himself a really, 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 really good chiropractor. If he's ever in the area, I can recommend my cousin. She's really good. But, man, with as often as he winds up on his back, that poor guy. Anyway, that's getting very off subject. Now we got to talk about Bagent specifically yesterday. This isn't going to sound probably as much like a compliment as I truly do mean it. He proved he belonged in the league yesterday. You know, think about where he's come from. He was undrafted out of Shepherd University, which is a Division II school. He became the first undrafted Division II rookie quarterback to start a game in at least 73 years yesterday. And I wouldn't be surprised if he was the first one ever, because the league records just don't go back further than that. The fact that he even appeared in a game is a testament to him right there. But then he came out and he absolutely looked the part. He looked like a professional quarterback. That is massive. That is a huge achievement for him. He earned every bit of that game ball he got yesterday from Eberflus. The numbers on the whole, 40. Yeah, Sam Howell's been sacked 40 times already in 7 games. That is, not good. Certainly not good. That is nearly 6 times a game, and with another 10 games to go, he's easily going to be pushing 100 in the season. That is for Sam Howell. But what you saw from Bagent yesterday, and let's look at the numbers real quick. 21 of 29. That's darned impressive. 162 yards. Okay. All right. 1 touchdown, no picks. Was only sacked the 1 time. That is, to quote the legendary Scott, I'm sorry, not Scott Van Pelt. Now I'm going to forget the ESPN analyst. I'll look him up. As soon as I say the quote, if somebody remembers it, it'll save me from looking it up. Cool as the other side of the pillow. That's what Bagent looked like out there. He was cool, calm, and collected out there. The moment was not too big for him. That's impressive. That is absolutely impressive. A terrific showing. Well done, young man. Stuart Scott. Thank you, Mike. I was saying Scott Van Pelt, and I knew that wasn't right. So thank you, Stuart Scott. I knew Scott was in there somewhere. The legendary Stuart Scott. Cool as the other side of the pillow. That's the best description and definition of Bagent yesterday that I can come up with. And diving into those numbers a little bit more, look at how many and it wasn't like it was just where's DJ Moore all game long either. You had 9 different Bears players get targeted in the game. You had 8 different Bears players make a catch in the game. DJ Moore obviously led everybody, 8 catches, 54 yards. But Darnell Mooney reappeared. Dante Foreman had 3 catches. Tyler Scott, which that makes sense because Bagent's been practicing with him all season long. So the other rookie, Tyler Scott, starting to make an appearance. Darrington Evans, Mercedes Lewis, Kerry Blasingame, Velus Jones got a catch. It didn't go anywhere, but he made a catch. So you're spreading the ball out too. That's impressive too. It wasn't just where's DJ, where's DJ, where's DJ, where's DJ. 8 different players with catches yesterday. Very efficient. Very well done. Now we got to get to the other side of the coin. There's always a but, isn't there? There's always a tails side of the coin. There's already a growing contingent of Bears fans who want this to be Bagent's team going forward. That quick, we got to trade Fields while we can. Let's just go with this Bagent kid. This is it. We've found him. We've got the guy. Hold your horses. And I'm going to caveat this with the same thing I said last week. Bagent, prove me wrong when I say this. You know. Let's dive into those numbers a little bit. Oh, and before I get into the other side, the other thing too that is pointed out, we talked about how important it was for the team to convert on third downs. Listen to Bagent's numbers on third downs: 6 of 9 for 52 yards, 5 first downs. His touchdown pass came on third down, and he ran for a first down on a third down play. That's getting the job done. That's absolutely getting the job done. You know, that's, if you want to get into the old NFL passing calculator bit, that's a passer rating of 118.75 on third down. That's outstanding. That's a job very well done on third down. Overall for the game, he had a passer rating of 97, which absolutely you'll take. The touchdown obviously skews that number quite a bit, but you talk about needing to win on third down. He won on third down. Now let's talk about the flip side of the coin. And Mike brings up, that the grass is always greener on the other side. He wound up with 162 passing yards, but he was not airing the ball out. NFL Next Gen Stats keeps track of stats within the stats, if you will. He did not have a single pass attempt that traveled further than 15 yards in the air yesterday. And of his 29 pass attempts from yesterday, the average distance they went in the air, so from him throwing it, getting to where the receiver caught it, was an average of 2.1 yards. That's it. That's less than what the Bears were averaging running the ball yesterday. So the ball, they were not asking him to throw it deep. It was get the snap, get the ball out, avoid pressure. Read the defense, throw to somebody, and get the ball out of your hands. He did not try anything deep. The deepest one that I think he threw was on a 3rd and 7 that they wound up converting to DJ Moore. He wound up throwing it about 15 yards is all it went in the air. Nothing deep. Just nothing deep at all. So keep that in mind. They weren't asking him to chuck it around the yard. It was get the ball out, get it to a receiver, don't get hit, don't do too much. And there's something to be said for that. I mean, you watch Justin, I hope Justin Fields was kind of paying attention. And if Fields can learn to do that, that'll help him out so much. Just get it out, get it to the next guy. That'll open up those deep shots that he's always wanting to take. That'll open up those bombs that he loves to do, because that forces the safeties to come up. That forces the linebackers to cheat up. the other thing, too, I hear a lot of Bears fans talk all the time, the comparison that a lot of people want to make. Brock Purdy. Look at what Brock Purdy did. Look at what Brock Purdy did as the last guy picked overall. Well, let's compare for a minute. Okay, yes, they were both unheralded. They play a similar style of game. But Brock Purdy came from Stanford. Not only is that a Division I school, that's a Power 5 conference. There is a world of difference between what Brock Purdy came from and what Tyson Bagent came from. Now, all that being said, Bagent absolutely looked like he belonged yesterday. He looked the part. But for every Brock Purdy, there's 1,000 Chase Daniels. There's 1,000 Shane Matthews. There's 1,000 Kyle Ortons. There's 1,000 Craig Krenzels. There's 1,000 Caleb Haneys. I'm sorry, from Iowa State. Thank you, Mike. There are, point being, Bagent, if all Bagent becomes is Chase Daniel, that's a huge victory for him. That's an amazing victory for him. Coming from a D2 school where he was expecting to go be a high school teacher. That is what he was thinking was going to be next in his life, was that he was going to go back to the high school. Yeah, there's 1,000 Rex Grossmans. Oh, sexy. Oh, sexy Rexy. What could have been. You know, he was 100% planning on going back to his high school and being a teacher and doing CrossFit and maybe doing some coaching. And instead, he's made it into the NFL. And he shows that he belongs in the NFL. Even if all he does is he becomes a Chase Daniel, a guy who hangs around in the league for a decade plus as a backup quarterback, he will be a massive success story. But I'm not ready yet to call him the future of the franchise. Kurt Warner made a good point this afternoon on the radio. He said the locker room will tell you who the starters should be. That they'll tell you who they're behind. Jaylon Johnson then went on the radio a little later and said, oh, no. This is Fields' team. There's no quarterback controversy here. This is Justin's team. Tyson's great. He did an outstanding job yesterday. We're all supporting him, but this is Justin's team. Speaking of Jaylon Johnson, that man better have earned himself a second contract from the Bears yesterday. Coming in, he's in his final year of his deal, and the Bear, and he was honest. He knows what the Bears want to see from him. They want to see the takeaways. They want to see the stats on the sheet. He has a lot of advanced Pro Football Focus loves him. Pro Football Focus, I'm going to say it, I've said it a lot, I'll say it again, take Pro Football Focus with a grain of salt, especially when you're looking at line play. The way that they figure out their math is goofy. But Pro Football Focus loves Jaylon Johnson. And you watch Jaylon Johnson, and you can see he's a really good corner. But the big knock on him is he doesn't get takeaways. Part of that's because teams don't want to throw at him. That's a huge part of it. That teams just flat out do not want to throw at him. The Raiders, for whatever reason, Brian Hoyer decided to throw at Johnson yesterday. And Johnson got his first ever house call. He got an interception, just his second interception of his career, and took it to the house. Then Aiden O'Connell made the rookie mistake of, I want to go pick on Jaylon Johnson again. And Johnson got his second interception of the game. Came in 43 games, he had 1 pick. In this game, he had 2 picks. That's outstanding. The Bears need to hang on to him. Johnson did on the radio this afternoon, he did say that his representatives are having active negotiations with the Bears right now about a contract, which is great because Johnson's name has been floated a lot the last couple of weeks with the trade deadline coming up. And it's, they traded Roquan last year. They traded Robert Quinn. Johnson's coming out of contract. Well, they might make a move. No. No. The Bears are building something with this secondary. And I think you're going to see that now that they're all healthy. I think you're going to see that over the next couple weeks between Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson. Devontae Adams beat him early in the game, but Stevenson then held his own over the final 3 quarters. Kyler Gordon is really handling the nickel position well. Jaquan Brisker is playing outstanding safety. They might need to find themselves a free safety if Eddie Jackson can't keep himself healthy. They might need to find a free safety, but this secondary is quickly shaping up to be one of the best in the league. And it would be a crime to let Jaylon Johnson walk just because the team is bad and you might be able to get a 5th-round pick for him in April's draft as opposed to letting him walk in free agency and maybe getting a 3rd-round pick for him in 2025 as a compensatory pick. And Johnson wasn't shy about it. When he was celebrating after his pick 6 and he was doing the making it rain with his hands, he was telling the team, pay me. You know what I want. Let's make it happen. Let's make a deal happen. I hope they do because he's played incredibly well. Now you've got the Chargers this Sunday. And Taryn Rodriguez in the chat. He's also the host of the SoCal Supreme Sports Show on Friday afternoons, 2 o'clock Central Time. He'll be able to give you the Chargers' perspective of this matchup. It's going to be Tyson Bagent. It's going to be Bagent. He's earned it. Yeah, that's one thing that came out of yesterday was the Bears knew that, hey, Justin, let's give you another week to make sure that thumb's really healthy before you're out there again. So it's going to be Bagent. Make no mistake. It'll be Bagent on Sunday night. Be interesting to see that, with Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack on the other side of that line. Yeah, maybe you should be only throwing the ball 2 yards down the field at a time just so that Bosa and Mack don't utterly, completely, and totally destroy you in this game. But we'll see what that is. It's certainly not the matchup NBC wanted, I'm sure, but it's the one they've got, and they're going to sell the hell out of this Bagent storyline. They already started last night. They're going to have some fun with it for sure. All right, we are going to take ourselves a little bit of a break, and then on the flip side of it, we're going to move over and talk about some hoops. The Bulls tip off their season Wednesday night against the Oklahoma City Thunder. What should we expect from the boys in the Madhouse on Madison this season? We will discuss that on the flip side. You are listening to Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Well, what is up, Carolina Nation? This is John Felipe of the Carolina Cast, of course, the podcast of, by, and for the Carolinas, right here on IE Sports, your direct feed for all that is sports. And I'm reminding you to tune in Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern for the latest in Carolina sports, whether it's the Panthers that keep on pounding, the fly natures of the Hornets, the storming Hurricanes, the battle of the Blues with Duke and UNC, the fight of the Clemson Tigers, or the amazing atmosphere of any Carolina college. I'm talking App State, I'm talking ECU. I've got you covered. Once again, tune in for the Carolina Cast with me, John Felipe, Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
It's IE Sports Radio. It is your direct feed for all that is sports. It is Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris every Tuesday night right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris is the most comprehensive view on Philadelphia sports exclusively right here on IE Sports Radio. You know what it is, your direct feed for all that is sports. Tuesday night, IE Sports Radio, Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris.
What's good, everyone? It's Drewski, the host of Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. On this station, we cover everything in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area. From we cover the Dallas Cowboys, the Dallas Stars, Dallas Mavericks, Dallas Wings, Texas Rangers, TCU, SMU, we cover it all right here every Wednesdays from 9 to 10 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you stay live with me on the Heart of Texas Sports on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, ladies and sinners. Hello, sports fans around the world. Hello, IE Sports family. This is Cale Henderson, the host of IE Vegas, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio. If you folks are interested in sports in the Vegas area, if you're wanting to have a blast for 1 hour every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, this is a show built for the Vegas sports fans, where we feature the Las Vegas Raiders, the Las Vegas Golden Knights, the Las Vegas Aces, and the University of Las Vegas, Nevada, Rebels. Hopefully, fingers crossed, MLB team coming soon. Either way, if you folks are looking to have a blast for 1 hour each and every week, tune in Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you folks are interested in Vegas sports news, go to our Twitter at SinCities_IESR, and you can speak with me, the host, Cale Henderson, at Cale_Henderson on Twitter. At any time, be happy to reply. Always want to reach out to our fans. Again, the Sin City Sports Show, presented by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hello, sports fans. It's me, your boy Larry B, and I want to walk you through the world of sports. No, not just the mainstream major TV deal type sports, although those are important too. But let me be your guide through your journey of all sports, from college to the pros, the minors, and everything in between. Each week, we are talking sports galore with true diehards just like you from a hardcore fan's perspective that's sure to quench your thirst around leagues you may know all too well and some you may even discover here. That's right, sports fans. If you love sports of all kinds, enjoy hearing amazing sports stories, and respect all sports because you know how difficult any of them can be to play or compete in, then this is your show. Join me, your boy Larry B, on the defining moment each week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, and let the sports come to you.
And welcome back into Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Let's talk some hoops, shall we? We are less than 48 hours away from the Chicago Bulls tipping off their regular season. They will be at home against the Oklahoma City Thunder Wednesday evening over at the Madhouse on Madison. So what should we expect from this Chicago Bulls team? When last we saw them, they were in the play-in tournament. They had won the first play-in game. Then they wound up drawing the Miami Heat. Could not get past Miami. Got knocked out. Failed to make the playoffs proper. They watched the Heat then springboard that play-in tournament victory all the way into an Eastern Conference championship and make it into the NBA Finals. And JB, our guy over at Magic City Scoreboard on Thursday nights, was very excited about all that. We had some fun there, especially when the Heat were beating Boston. He had lots to say about that. So he was excited. Meanwhile, for the Bulls themselves, though, what should we expect from this club? I really am not sure. I fear that it's not going to be a whole lot better than it was last year. And ESPN in their final preseason rankings puts the Bulls at 22nd overall. They're not even in the top 20 overall in the association. They are significantly closer to the bottom of the league than the top. And it's hard to argue with why that would be. Mike Pat, by the way, host of Let's Whine About DMV Sports, I would highly recommend not looking up where ESPN put the Wizards in that list. Let's just say they have some climbing to do, and we'll leave it at that. But it's hard to argue with why they would be so far down, because as we have seen from these guys ever since the Lonzo Ball injury in what was only what was only 18 months ago, 19 months ago, but it feels like it was forever ago. Since then, the Bulls just have not been very good. And they haven't really done anything to address that. They decided not to trade Zach LaVine. They decided not to trade DeMar DeRozan. They re-signed Nikola Vucevic. The same big three, top three core guys that we have seen the last couple years struggle to figure out how to work well together and how to make it work together. Individually, all three of them can be terrific. The combination of the three of them is where the trouble is. DeMar is so ball dependent, so needing to have the basketball in his hands to make things work, to play iso ball, to play that mid-range game that he does so well, but is also so outdated in the current NBA. You've got Zach LaVine, who could be terrific from three when given the opportunity. And you've got Vucevic, who can swipe any rebound under the sun that you want and can be a good low-post offensive player. But you struggle to get defensive stuff out of any of the three of them. They did add two seemingly small but potentially very significant moves in Javon Carter and Torrey Craig. Because the big reason why for both of those guys is they could shoot the three, which is something that they just haven't done a lot of the last couple of years. You know, Javon Carter, most recently of the Milwaukee Bucks. In his career, he's a 39.7% three-point shooter. But he takes, he'll take 3 or 4 of them a game. Then you have Torrey Craig, who comes over most recently from Phoenix, and he makes about 35% of his threes. So you're getting some more 3-point play out of that. Kobe White, this is going to be a big season for him because you know that for the Bulls, with Lonzo going down, they need that facilitator. They need that point guard at the top. Kobe White has wanted to be a shooter throughout his career, but he now knows and he now understands that what the team needs is a facilitator out of that point guard spot, and he's earned that starting point guard spot. Can he finish the development into the quarterback, the floor general for the Bulls to help get Lonzo and Vooch and DeMar into the spots that they need to be? And Patrick Williams. This is a massive season for Patrick Williams. The Bulls today did not come to terms with Williams on any kind of extension. Today was the deadline for rookies to sign contract extensions. And Patrick was part of that 2020 class. The Bulls didn't sign him to any kind of extension. They did the same thing with Kobe White a year ago. It worked out where the Bulls were able to work out a 3-year extension with Kobe after the season was over. Certainly that's what the Bulls are hoping for with Patrick Williams, but what you're wanting to see from him is to be more of a focal point in this offense. He showed last year that he could shoot a 3. He made 41% of them. He shot very well from 3. That's going to be a huge point of emphasis for the Bulls this season. They have been so bad the last couple years of not shooting, just not even not making them, not even taking them in the first place. Too willing, too eager to just let the other team make a 3 and we'll go down and take a 2. And the thinking that, well, we'll just, we'll wind up either with more possessions or we'll try to make up for it with volume in some way. We'll try to make up for the fact that we're not getting as many points per shot we'll just take more shots. That way we'll be able to get the points up that way. And it just hasn't worked. It has not turned out in their favor. Expectations for the Bulls overall, I mean, their forecast right now from ESPN has them at 37-45 overall is what they're projecting. Depending on where you look for your odds, that 36, 37, 38 wins seems to kind of be the threshold for them. But this is a massive season for them that they have got to, if they're going to do anything with this core, with this group, it's got to be this year. Because there's not any more time left to get the job done with this team. Hopefully we'll see some good results, some good things overall. There was some NBA news that broke as I was driving in tonight. Some NBA news that broke. The division's not getting any easier. The Milwaukee Bucks, of course, they made a trade earlier this offseason to get Dame Lillard over from Portland to try and increase their shooting potential and also to try and convince star Giannis Antetokounmpo to stick around. It worked. Antetokounmpo today signed a 3-year, $186 million extension to stay with the Bucks for the next 3 seasons after this one. So the division's not getting any easier. The path isn't getting any easier for the Bulls to make some noise. It's almost certainly going to have to be, getting in as a wild card. Now, there's plenty of opportunities to get in as a wild card in the NBA. Winning the division isn't huge, but at the same time, you play those teams a lot. You're going to be running into that buzzsaw. Hopefully, they'll be able to avoid the play-in tournament. That would be outstanding if they can wind up as the 6 in the East and avoid that play-in tournament altogether. That's your best case scenario, I think, for the Bulls this season. All right. That is going to do it for our show here tonight. Want to send out some shout-outs and thank yous. Thank you, first of all, to our sponsor, Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Check them out, planetjerky.net. If you like a little bit of spice, the volcanic jalapeno is delicious. My wife loved the classic barbecue flavor, but check them out. They are top-notch, high-quality, very tasty. planetjerky.net. You definitely want to go check them out. Thank you to Larry B. All the hard work he does behind the scenes here at IE Sports Radio, keeping everything moving, keeping everything going. Thank you to everybody that hung out with me in the chat tonight. Mike, Pat, Kathy, and, of course, Taryn Rodriguez hanging out in the chat room. Taryn's going to be coming up right after us tonight with another episode of Set Point, breaking down all things happening in the volleyball world that happened in the last week. And then before we close out of here for the night, 10 o'clock Central Time, Where You At? We'll check in with Nolans, New Orleans sports going on here tonight as well. So be sure to check that out. Where You At 10 o'clock Central Time as well. Lots going on, lots to keep up with. Next week, of course, we'll be breaking down the Sunday night matchup between the Bears and the Chargers. Will we finally have a winning streak to be talking about? Fingers crossed, right? We will also check in on the college scene. We will check in on Connor Bedard. He finally had his first home game over the weekend. Didn't take long to make an impression on the UC crowd, scoring a goal, his first home goal in the first 3 minutes of the game over the weekend against the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Yeah, who cares if the Blackhawks still lost the game. We'll also see how the Bulls did in their first week. Until then, this is Adam Karnick for IE Sports Radio. Bear down. We'll see you next week.